Unstoppable since Kevin Durant got hurt. In the 4-game sweep against the Blazers, Steph averaged about 37 points per game while shooting nearly 43% from point range. That led Charles Barkley to say that Steph has put his name back in the conversation for best player in the world, along with Durant, LeBron, Giannis, and Kawhi. So Chris Broussard is back with us. Chris, does Steph belong in that discussion?
You know, I've had this discussion a lot with Isaiah Thomas, the legend, Zeke, Detroit Pistons.
The big guy, the big guy.
No disrespect to the current Isaiah, but about the GOAT and about best players in the world at any given time. And he has said, we know he was a 6'1" point guard. He has said, when you guys in the media talk about the GOAT or the best player, you're really only talking about guys 6'6" and over. Like, he's like, you don't even consider any guards, any point guards, any small guards other than Magic Johnson, who was 6'8". And that's been fair, though, because the game has always been about height and big men dominated. And the only two small players that ever led their teams to championships, not just one championship, but multiple ones, was Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry.
Right.
But now that the game is more about point guards and wing players, now that it's a jump shooting 3-point league, why can't you now throw a point guard into the conversation?
Okay.
And I think, look, it's hard to compare players in basketball because they're different sizes and different skill sets. Like, how do you really compare who was better between Shaq and Kobe? Right. They did such different things.
Right.
It's not just a checklist of skills. Who's the better shooter? Who's the better passer? Who's this?
Right.
I think the fairest way to compare players is impact. Impact on winning. And if they have to have, obviously, superstar statistics. But if you got superstar statistics, then let's look at the impact on winning. And if Steph Curry leads them to the championship without Kevin Durant, why can't you say he's the best player in the world? He doesn't have this, everybody's the overwhelming talent. Well, if KD's gone, Klay is going to be a future Hall of Famer, but he was a low lottery pick.
Right.
Draymond Green, I think, will probably be a future Hall of Famer because of the winning. He was a second-round pick. Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Andrew Bogut are old. Look at Kevon Looney, the last pick of the first round. And then you got guys people don't even know coming off the bench, giving them minutes.
Jerebko.
Right. Quinn Cook, Jacob Evans, was it? Playing other. And so if he can lead them to this championship, I think he's more than in the conversation. And you have to give it, arguably say he's the best player in the world.
I agree with you, but I don't believe he should have ever left the conversation. What transpired is, Skip, is that he was so willing to go to the second, to stand in the background.
He took himself out of the conversation.
He was driving,
willingly did that.
He was driving a nice car, and he's like, you know what, KD, for you, I'm going to get in the passenger seat. I'm going to let you drive.
Okay. Now you're disqualified from best player on the planet discussion, right?
Because and the thing is, but Skip, you look at it, he averaged 27 points a game, which was the second most of his career, only behind the 30 in which he won the unanimous MVP.
You're talking about this year.
This year.
Right, and he was their leading scorer.
He was their leading scorer. And if you look at these last two finals, Skip, I mean, he averaged, the year when KD first got there, he was 26, 8, and 9. Last year, he was just pretty much the same thing, a tick low in rebounds and assists.
And you have often made the case that first finals, he should have been the MVP over Iguodala.
Right.
I thought so. The key game 5, when it was tied 2-2, he had 37 points.
And if you look at it, what we've seen for the last 2 weeks, without what we call another superstar, another Harden or LeBron or Kawhi on his team, he showed you what he can do. So I never felt he should have left the conversation. Now, I think he's unbelievable. And I agree with you, Chris. I believe that if he wins another championship, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the conversation for being the best point guard ever.
I agree.
It's going to be very hard because he's going to have 4 rings, a unanimous MVP, and he's not done yet. So, yeah, he absolutely. Now, am I taking him over KD? Am I taking him over LeBron? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But he's a top 5 player. I think he's always been a top 5 player, but it's hard to say he's a top 5 player when you're riding shotgun with KD. And that's the same thing people had. Well, how you going to be the best player in the world and you got a 2-time league MVP on your roster?
Okay, before that two-time MVP came there, Kevin Durant went to Golden State, especially in the second of the two MVP seasons, which was the unanimous one. I thought Steph Curry was the best player on the planet that year. I thought his impact and his value was slightly even more than your man LeBron's, just for that year. He revolutionized the way we looked at the game of basketball. He was shooting shots from distances that most players would have gotten yanked for before he showed up, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And he's making 48, 50% of those distance shots, and it's tilting the game in Golden State's favor during their record 73-9 season. And I will also say that in these last 5 games, that guy reemerged. In fact, this guy over the last 5, and I'm talking about game 6 at Houston and then those 4 against Portland, that guy was even better than the unanimous MVP guy. That was the best stretch of basketball I've ever seen Steph Curry play. Now, you can say it was what was left of the Rockets because they were psychologically reeling, but still, to go do that to them in game 6 in their place,
building.
He destroyed them. And then for 4 straight nights, he destroyed the Trailblazers. He psychologically just destroyed them. He shredded that defense in 1,000 different little big ways. And again, he's getting to the basket a lot. He's slicing and dicing them. And again, he doesn't look the part. He's baby-faced and he's slender. Although if you look hard at the slender, it's got some cuts in it now.
Yeah, he done bulked up a little bit since I saw him.
Well, look at that. Thank you for that picture. That's a little different than Davidson, right?
He done bulked up a little bit since the pre-draft combine. You watch him in the pre-draft combine, you're like, oh, somebody let their kid on.
So what's the big glitch? What was the big disqualifier? It was the finals against LeBron after the 73-9. It was games 5, 6, and 7. And what happened in those 3 games? He shoots 37% from the field, which by his standards is horrible. He shot 36% from 3, which by his, it's shameful for him.
Especially he was 40% in the regular season.
And in those 3 games, he had a grand total of 7 assists and 12 turnovers. That's not that unanimous MVP. And then the worst of all was that game 7. Remember, they go to the 4th quarter in their house, 1 point up on LeBron and company. It's Kyrie and Kevin Love. 1 point up. And what does he do in the 4th quarter? He goes 1 for 6 and 1 for 5 from 3. And he had the one just shockingly bad turnover.
It was behind the back turnover play
into the 3rd row.
With the left hand.
He's careless with the ball.
All right. And in that 7th game, this is your house. This is your show. This is when you rise and shine. For the game, he went 6 for 19 and 4 of 14 from 3. You can't do that. And that's why he swallowed all of his MVP pride and said, okay, I give up and I give in. We need him. Right?
And here's the thing. Well, it's hard to say because you believe that had they won that against LeBron, you believe that also, that Kevin Durant would have never set foot in Golden State.
I can't imagine he would have went to Golden State.
But we could be looking at
why would they want him? Why would they go to the Hamptons to recruit him?
Well, true.
If they'd beaten LeBron.
I had been told that the summer before KD's last year in OKC, and this was early in the season I was told this, and it all came to bear out. Somebody told me KD really wanted to play with the Warriors. They weren't saying it was a done deal, but they say he had mentioned to somebody that summer, man, I love the way y'all play. That's why I know it wasn't just about let me go get an easy title. He liked generally the selflessness, the egolessness, the ball movement after especially playing all those years with Westbrook. So he was looking at it already, thinking about it the year before, and I think with them losing, it just gave him the opportunity to go there.
Man, what Steph is doing without him, though. I mean, there's people like, well, they swept Portland. Portland got swept last year. Yeah, but the Pelicans didn't sweep them without Anthony Davis. Can you imagine now if the Pelicans had swept them without Anthony Davis, we'd be talking about something. Had they beat Houston without James Harden, we'd be talking about something different.
To Isaiah Thomas's point, inch for inch over these last 5 games, it's the greatest basketball I've ever seen anybody play. Inch for inch.
Better than Iverson?
To me,
he's
yes.
better.
'Cause he
He's
could
better
shoot.
than
But I'm saying, you know that stretch with Iverson when he got him to the finals. And then that first game against the Lakers.
One thing I say is AI wasn't that efficient.
No.
You know, he just wasn't an efficient scorer. But I agree. I mean, Iverson, I think, puts him, he loves Steph.
Yeah.
I think he put him ahead of Magic. That's really the interesting conversation. You're right. If they win this championship without KD,
I don't know how you keep him in the second slot, Skip.
Yep. But there's one man I put above Steph Curry and LeBron James. Who? Snoop.
Oh, that's the guy? Snoop Dogg is here. Chris, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I know you got that for your boy. I know you got that for your boy. I know you got that for your boy.
Talk about.
We keep that. We keep it.
Good to see you.
For him.
Skip.
How are you?
what's up, baby?